Good evening, everyone. Time for another member update. Now, this is the Dow 30 monthly chart, and the reason I'm starting with this is because I just wanted to point out here the appearance that we're rolling over. Yeah, it does appear that we're rolling over, but it very well could go into new highs. This doesn't mean that it can't go into new highs. Now, if you look at the two previous periods rolling over here at the .com top, which actually took a long time. It actually took from about 1999, when all the .com stocks started crashing, to all the way down into after 9/11, when the recession started, and then the Federal Reserve cut rates all the way down into basically the Iraq War, and we got that kind of a war rally there. You can see the next one was a lot shorter top, and we've really already run about twice the length of that top in this top. So this one's about half the length of this one, and about twice the length of this one. So who knows? It may actually bounce and go into new highs. Let me show you as an example. This is the main stock market index in Turkey. And you can see here over this period of time, if we go down to the beginning here, you can see back in 1995, we're talking about 250, and it's hit as high as 90,000. And just as recently as, say, 2001, this stock index was around 10,000. You can see that it's 85,000. So a good tenfold move since just 2001. Now, the big issue here, of course, is going to be the underlying currency, because if we pull up the Turkish lira and put the chart overlaid here, you can see that most of the performance that we've seen in this stock market is actually due to devaluation of the currency. So you can see from about 2000, the currency has lost more than half its value. That doesn't, I guess you'd still be ahead, if you have those fourfold or eightfold gains, but, are you going to sell in time? So a lot of the paper returns are illusory. That's why we always do a cross of silver over stocks. Now let's go ahead and put that one up. I'm going to actually put up silver crossed over the Dow transport average. Actually, no. Let's put silver crossed over the utilities. That's the one we used the other day, and that's the one that looks like it may be making new highs. So there you go. There is the weekly Dow utilities average crossed over the silver price, and you can see we're still nowhere near that reversal happening. We've got a long ways to go. Now, we just recently had this smackdown in silver. Everyone was scandalized by it. I think that, let's pull off the comparison. Everyone was scandalized by it, but I think that most of the silver stackers now, it's just kind of a big yawn. I think that most silver stackers would be surprised if we didn't get a smackdown like that. Now you can see the move here. Let's put up the volume just to show that in comparison. You can see a big launch move from 15.20 up to 16.10, even 16.20, about a buck, almost a buck from top to bottom, bottom to top move. And, that gets people excited. That's, a big percentage move. What is that, 6%? 6% or so, maybe even more, 7% move in around a day. But then you can see here they took it all right back, and we're right back where it started. So these are the kind of stunts that they pull. We know that this kind of stuff isn't going to end until the financial system itself ends, the system of manipulation, because the manipulation of silver is at the very heart of their manipulation of all financial systems. Interesting tick here. You can see that completely out of line tick. Tick down price and then back up. So a fake market, worse than ever. There's a new Ted Butler out that's talking about JP Morgan, their 400 million ounces. I'm not going to cover that tonight. I may cover that in a future update. So I wanted to talk a little bit about this monkey series. Of course, you know that we watch the lunar series more than anything else. The number one pick here is going to be the half ounce. That's my favorite so far this year. Half ounce lunar monkey, which you can still get for $11 and something over at Gainesville Coins. That's going to be the cheapest for that. Now, on the member site, we had an interesting discussion about this 2 ounce. You can see here that that APMEX is out. I believe Provident has them. They're around $56 or $57. Now, that is a very, very high price. I'm not willing to pay that much money for a 2 ounce coin. Now, that's actually very close to the highest that I paid, but that was what I paid for 2 ounce dragons back in 2011, I believe. It's 2011 or 2012 when I picked those up, but the price of silver was much, much higher than it is now. So I'm definitely not willing to pay $50-something for a 2 ounce silver coin. That's beyond semi-numi. That's straight numismatic. Now, the 1 ounce is actually starting to look like a good deal here because this 24.25 price is a little high. I think I saw them elsewhere as low as 22 something. So at around 22, that's $7 above spot. That's something that you can live with, although that's pushing it. So for me, the 1 ounce is going to be probably the favorite right now, with the 2 ounce coming in a close second. If you can get the 1 ounce for 22, I would say that's number one. If you can get the 2 ounce for $11.50, that's about a tie. $11, of course, that's a steal. I think at Gainesville at one point I was picking up the goats for $9 and something, and we just haven't seen those prices come back. The premiums have really expanded. Now I want to look at this 5 ounce coin here. They don't have it in stock, but I think I saw it for $150. Now that's a little bit ridiculous. That's $30 an ounce for 5 ounces, and that's twice the spot price. That's a ridiculous premium. Maybe it's a strategy by the Perth Mint to not sell that much silver. I'm not really sure. But then we've also got this 10 ounce monkey here. Now this one is actually reasonable because for 10 ounces at $2.17, you're getting at $21.70 an ounce. That's still quite a bit above spot, but that's nowhere like the other coins. But again, 10 ounce coin, that's pretty big. I've never even purchased a 5 ounce coin, much less a 10 ounce coin. If any of you have the 5 or 10 ounce coins, I'm kind of interested in how big those are and how unwieldy they are, just in case I decide to pick some up. So as far as the story on the 2 ounce, we had mention of the latest updated figures on Perth mintages, and this 2 ounce is very, very low, coming in around 10,000 so far for the year. So it doesn't look like a lot are being ordered. I don't know why APMEX hasn't alerted me on there when they can order these from the Perth Mint right now. They should be minting these all the way through at least late September. There shouldn't be any problem in ordering these, but again, there's a lot of shenanigans that go on behind the scenes. So keep an eye on the 2 ounce. It's going to be very, very low mintage. If you can pick this coin up, I'm not willing to pay more than $45 an ounce for this coin, not at current spot prices, because 45, that's going to be about $22.50 an ounce, and that's what I can get both the 1 ounce and the half ounce for. I'm not going to pick up the 2 ounce for more money over spot than I can get the 1 ounce or the half ounce. So let's get to the main story here. I have to cover this story because I think it's really important. Now this is this breaking Ted Cruz sex scandal. Now I actually knew this story was coming 2 months ago. I'll show you why when we go through this. I've never liked Ted Cruz. I've always thought that he is a despicable snake. I don't really spend much time in politics because for the most part it's just a big waste of time. But just to give you an example, how do I make my judgment? Well, this is all I need right here. This picture tells me everything I need to know, that this man is a despicable snake. And I don't trust him as far as I can throw him. And no, I do not believe that he is a conservative Christian. Now, he is portraying himself as the conservative Christian in the race. I don't believe he is. And you can see that he won Utah. Of course, Mormons want you to believe that they're conservative Christians. Mormons aren't Christians. Mormons are basically conservative Masons, is the only way to describe what they believe. But completely bizarre amalgamation of Masonic belief systems and ancient rituals, and a hybrid form of errant anti-Trinitarian bizarre Christianity. So it's not surprising that the Glenn Beck types were taken in by Ted Cruz. I'm not taken in by Ted Cruz. So now the sex scandal is breaking. I think it's got legs. I thought it had legs 2 months ago when I came across it. This is called 8 Things You Need to Know About Ted Cruz's Sex Scandal. Number 1, National Enquirer was right about John Edwards, Tiger Woods, and Jesse Jackson. So that's a very good point. The National Enquirer has a lot on the line because they get sued all the time. So even though the National Enquirer is known as one of those scandal rags, or people think of the Weekly World News and I Had Your Alien Baby, actually when it comes to doing hit pieces on famous wealthy people, they usually have their ducks in a row because the chance of being sued and losing a whole lot of money. That's number 1. Washington Times reporter confirmed the story. Now this is an interesting one. This is how I found out about it. Breitbart had the story and cut the story. So that's very interesting. You can see that this Alam Bukhari said he hates getting scooped on the 24th of March, but we can see that he sat on the story for a long time, because back in February 2nd, he tweeted about a bombshell about Ted Cruz, and then dropping the Ted Cruz bombshell. Looks like they held off on the story. You know the history of Breitbart, and maybe they have good reason for holding off on a story. Someone might have a mysterious heart attack. Number 4, Cruz sex scandal was trending on Twitter. That doesn't mean a lot. Now, here's the identification of the women, and I don't know. I haven't even looked into these women. I don't know who they are, but the one that is important for me is this woman right here, Katrina Pearson, because she is the spokeswoman for Donald Trump. She's the one you see in the media promoting Trump. You can see her here with Trump. But she was with Cruz, and there's a lot of rumors floating about the internet, and have been for quite some time. You can see here that she made her Instagram private last night as the scandal started to trend. And then number 7, here's a police report from 2005 saying Heidi Cruz was in a danger to herself, potentially committing suicide. I don't know. I haven't investigated that. And of course, we know this Carly Fiorina scandal, where the Cruz campaign sent about $500 million, I believe it was. Was it 500 million? 500,000, I'm sorry. Yeah, I had that off. $500,000 donation, mysterious donation. Nobody knew why. And so, yeah, where there's smoke, there's fire, I'll have to say. Now, the thing is that people say, well, why is there a double standard? Well, the reason why there's a double standard for people who claim to be a conservative, born-again, Bible-believing Christian is because if you actually say that you believe that, then people expect you to live by that. And that's consistent with the Bible's message. So if you say you believe the Bible literally and that you are a conservative Christian, then people will rightfully expect you not to be having affairs, to not be committing adultery or fornication, to not be an illegal drug user, to not be an alcoholic, to not be a railer, or all these other things that the Bible teaches. If you look at the qualifications of a deacon or of a bishop, there's a list of things that a person should not be. Doesn't mean they can't be a Christian, but they should not be those things if they're going to hold themselves up as a leader. So if you hold yourself up as a leader, and especially as a conservative Christian, and you are doing the opposite, you can bet that people are going to suss that out. You are going to be held to a different standard. Now, this is a different standard than Donald Trump is being held to. Now, I think everybody who supports Trump, I don't think they believe that Donald Trump is a conservative Christian. But they do believe that Donald Trump is what he says he is, which apparently he's a boasting, blowhard media personality And most of the people that are supporting him, I certainly support Donald Trump more than anyone else in the field. But people don't believe he's a conservative Christian. He doesn't act like a conservative Christian. He doesn't pretend to be a conservative Christian, although he does say, I'm a Christian. That's all he says. So if people found out that Donald Trump had affairs, they probably wouldn't be too surprised. Probably wouldn't be that big of a scandal. But I wanted to play this video here about Trump and the support behind him. And the big issue for me is going to be, is this media onslaught? Because really what we're seeing with Trump is a worldwide media onslaught against Trump. It's worldwide. It's all media. It's all left and right. And the real question for me is, are these people trying to stop Donald Trump? Are they actually trying to, is this an effort to put Donald Trump into office by discrediting the entire media? It's a crazy story, but this is an excellent video. I'm going to play the whole thing from True Stream Media.
So, I guess the theme of this video is how over the top the Trump coverage has become. He's obviously a larger-than-life figure. Everyone knows how entertaining he is. But it's just incredible the coordination of the media in attacking Trump when, first of all, ignoring him would work a lot better if they were really against him. And it's almost like it's reverse psychology. The system is hated. The people hate what the system have done. They're very angry. Everyone knows, obviously, the kind of crap the media is peddling and how they angle stories in ways that are untrue or deeply misleading, and they do it daily across all the networks, regardless of the leanings. And this week, they're lining up against Trump like I've never seen anyone discuss ever in the history, because obviously of his electoral victories.
Today we got our first post-debate polling in South Carolina, which holds its GOP primary this Saturday. And behold the devastation. The poll shows Trump with 35% support, putting him 17 points ahead.
They have actually created a magical media window of nothing but anti-Trump coverage. Nothing but anti-Trump coverage. Like, there's nothing else going on in the world at all except how much everyone everywhere across the entire world hates Donald Trump.
The Washington Post has put out an article that's a staff editorial saying they despise and fear Trump, and yes, they disagree with his policies, but the real reason they think Trump must be stopped by the GOP and there must be a brokered convention, they're not just saying it's possible, they're calling for a brokered convention because Trump is basically the new rise of Hitler. And
the Mexican president said you're using the same kind of language that ushered in Hitler and Mussolini. I can't remember that kind of comparison being used against any other presidential candidate. Does it suggest to you that you should tone down your rhetoric and your tactics?
Well, maybe so, but I mean, I have a tremendous following. We want to make America great again. It's a strong following. I don't know about the Hitler comparison. I hadn't heard that, but it's a terrible comparison. I'm not happy about that, certainly. I don't want that comparison.
He's super fascist, and just it's going to be this violent, brawling in the streets crap.
Fine line between covering a candidate and amplifying a candidate, and I'm sorry, but yes, Donald Trump may be the Republican frontrunner. I still think we're giving him way too much attention in proportion to the other candidates who also had victories to celebrate tonight. And I'm worried when he institutes internment camps and suspends habeas, we'll all look back and feel pretty bad.
And I'm not defending Trump. I don't trust Trump, but I get the anger behind his support, and I just think it's crazy. It makes me really angry to read the articles. It wasn't just the Washington Post. The London Guardian had an editorial. I've never seen this style of editorial. I've never seen the level of rhetoric. They took their staff writers, some of whom have terrible positions and are always writing just total garbage day in and day out. And it was all of them in the article. And they got their Muslim staffer to say, as a Muslim, Trump just frightens me more than anyone else possibly could, and I wet my Muslim bed sheets at night. And then they had a woman step up and say, I'm a woman, and Trump is just the worst because of this reason and this reason. I just couldn't imagine a world where Trump has this. Then they had a black woman step up and say, I'm African American and this is just too far. Trump would be the worst possible candidate and this is a nightmare. I'm also wetting the bed. And they had a Mexican American step up and say, we've been the most trodden upon by Trump because of the border and immigration comments. They had every demographic possible step up and say, I am this kind of person and that's why Trump would just be too far. What about the from the Clintons, from the Bushes, from Ted Cruz, from Goldman Sachs? What about the from Robot Rubio? How badly would this country be screwed by every other candidate up there, and how much worse would the screwing be because the media would sit complicitly by and not call them out for the real issues, as they always do, and refuse to condemn them for actual genocide and actual wars, refuse to condemn them for actually trampling on the Constitution and suspending rights. But no, it's Trump's rhetoric that has just gone too far. Is anyone living in reality here? The vast majority of that establishment should probably be investigated for prison alongside Hillary Clinton.
Well, the bottom line is this. If they wanted Trump gone, if the elite was really declaring a war against Trump, they would simply ignore him. Like in The Simpsons, when the evil billboards came to life and the only way to stop them was to ignore them so they would go away. If they really wanted Trump gone, they would give him the amount of debate time they gave Ron Paul.
Representing the 14th District of Texas, Congressman Ron Paul. Congressman Paul, let me follow up with you for just 30 seconds. Is it worth going to war to prevent a nuclear weapon in Iran?
No, it isn't worthwhile. And the only way you would do that is you would have to go to the Congress. We as Commander-in-Chief aren't making the decision to go to war. You know, the old-fashioned
way. The fact that we're supposed to believe the level of ridiculousness that is coming out of our media right now, and our world leaders who are coming out against Trump, and all of these pundits and all these politicians, and this weird global coordinated anti-Trump response. Because it's global now. They've got world leaders the world over coming out against Trump. The freaking Pope came out against Trump. And to say that Trump is not a Christian because Trump said he was going to build a wall at the U.S.-Mexico border.
A person who thinks only about building walls, wherever they may be located, and not building bridges, is not a Christian. This is not in the gospel. About whether I would advise to vote or not vote, I am not going to get involved in that.
When the Pope lives in a walled citadel, it is the most hypocrisy ever for the Pope to come out and say that. But this global anti-Trump thing, how are we supposed to believe that this is real?
And it makes me so angry because the system in general and the specific presidents and cabinet members and particular leaders of the past several administrations have so consistently screwed and screwed and screwed over the people over and over and over again. And the media never lined up to join hands and say, this is the line, we must stop them. And they were actually doing it. The Bush days were some of the darkest in our entire country's history, and they're burned into my memory because I lived through them. Has anyone been paying attention as our country has been completely eroded and destroyed?
The country is gone, folks, okay? It's gone.
The deep-seated anger at how little establishment or coordinated efforts there were in opposing the things Bush did and that Obama did.
The things that Hillary has really done, they're reinventing her all the time.
And tonight's debate is really Hillary Clinton's last chance to reintroduce herself. To reintroduce herself? Is this a chance to reintroduce herself? Chance to reintroduce herself. Wants to reintroduce herself. Hillary Clinton's moment to reintroduce herself. Sort of reintroduce herself. Reintroduce herself.
Our media is like Hillary's PR firm, okay? And she still sucks. That's how bad she really is. That she can have the whole media be her PR firm, basically. And she still is hated and loathed.
And Clinton and the other Bush and the whole system, which has been thoroughly corrupt since well before World War II. There's a whole history. I spent a lot of my time researching that, and just so badly the American people have been screwed over and over and over and lied to, and now they're up in arms and they say it's the last straw because of the things Trump has said. Give me a break. I mean, that's reality. That's what there is to it. The fact that that system will never be held accountable tells you how evil it is, tells you how much worse that system is than anything Hitler could have concocted.
They don't care. There's no coordinated response to really telling you how horrible these things are, to editorialize everything the way they've decided to do against Trump. I mean, hell, when the one lady was talking about the NSA spying on everyone, she was interrupted to go to live coverage of Justin Bieber.
This vast collection of data is not that useful and infringes substantially on personal privacy. The president, I think at this point, we should seriously consider not continuing
Congresswoman
Section
Harman,
215.
let me interrupt you. Congresswoman, let me interrupt you just for a moment. We've got some breaking news out of Miami. Stand by, if you will. Right now in Miami, Justin Bieber has been arrested on a number of charges. The judge is reading the charges, including resisting arrest and driving under the influence. He's appearing now before the judge for his bond hearing. Let's watch.
That's how much the mainstream media and the establishment agenda care about actual things that are affecting the people. The people know this, hence Trump.
There's one reason for the rise of Trump, and it's not neo-Nazi powers brewing beneath the surface. People are supporting Trump because they hate everyone else who has graced that stage. They're so sick and tired of all the crap they were spewing. Why on earth would anyone want Jeb Bush, the brother of the worst president this country's ever had, and the most arrogant and usurping dynasty family that America has yet seen? Because he's the responsible policy person. He's very intellectual and measured out and rational. Enough with that stuff. People are well aware of what these party systems are doing. Even a lot of people know about the think tanks who really make the policy behind the scenes, and they're fed up with it.
It looks to me as though the world is unraveling, that the order that existed is being challenged like never before.
Trump is not trustworthy, but the vote for him, the support for him, is a voice of anger.
Trump has become a vessel for a certain type of, let's call it lost cause identity politics. One Trump supporter in South Carolina told the LA Times, quote, "We're voting with our middle finger."
And being completely disgusted level sick of everyone else and what they've been doing. And you know who I'm talking about. And I know the establishment got the message, but now they're trying to sell it back to people that he's somehow the second coming of Satan or something. So what does that tell you? That you're seeing a deliberate effort. The GOP's against him.
Curly Hoagland, an RNC Standing Rules Committee member.
So I'm going to stop it there. You can watch the rest on your own. It's an amazing phenomenon. That's an excellent video by TrueStream Media. And they're not Trump supporters. They're just, that probably sums up for me the way I feel more than anybody else so far, because you'd have to be living in a cave to not see that it is a universal attack against Donald Trump. So what's gonna happen with this? I don't know. It's going to be very, very exciting. I've said for quite some time that Donald Trump may actually be the guy who presides over the bankruptcy of the United States. He's starting to talk like it. He talked just the other day about dismantling NATO. He did say that he's not going to touch the third rail, which is Social Security. But it may be that they are positioning him to be in place when the collapse occurs. And they can call him a conservative, blame it on conservatives, and perhaps bring in another Roosevelt-type administration after the collapse. Maybe he's the next Herbert Hoover. We'll have to wait and see, and we'll talk to you next time.